I know.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay.
When I can't see my way, Father, I need you.
How you doing?
Hi, Zoe. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so please tell us like who you are, what's your name?
My name is Ezzy. I'm currently a full-time student. I'm getting my MPA at Baruch College. Shout out to CUNY. Okay, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so I want to ask you a few questions about your view on abstinence and maybe what you say can encourage someone out there who may be going through some things. So, Ezzy, tell us, why is abstinence something that's important to you?
Abstinence, to me, because I have to speak about it through a biblical perspective, and I have to speak about it from where I was raised and where I was brought up and how much it's affected me in my day-to-day walk. We're so saturated, as you know, with the media, just kind of glorifying promiscuity. You see girls walking around naked. You see so many artists, female artists, male artists who champion this idea of casual sex. And I don't know about you, I have never thought that the words casual and sex should be together. So, so many people would say, well, you know, it's my choice. If I feel like I like this person, then why not do it? But I feel like sex is such a sacred thing. You know, it's not a handshake. I'm not just going to be like, oh, hey, what's up? And leave. It's something that it operates on so many levels. It's emotional, it's physical, it's spiritual. And so many young girls are so flippant with their bodies and they don't understand the connotation behind it. It's so funny, one of my girlfriends was telling me the other day as to why she is abstinent, and she gave this great analogy. She said, if you took two pieces of paper, construction paper, cut out hearts, and you take glue one to the other, now try and separate it. So we try to separate it, and what you see is pieces of each heart is on the other one. Take another heart, glue it together, separate it. And so if you're following, by the end of it all, you have a fragmented heart. And I feel like if we were just so much more conscious about that, that you are a little bit more broken. Even though people don't want to acknowledge that when you're constantly bonding with someone, especially as females.
That's deep. Great analogy. Great. I have to use that.
It really speaks so much to me. And having a little sister, and hopefully one day, God's grace, having a daughter, I would love to teach her, you know, your body is sacred.
Yes, it is.
It's so valuable. It was bought at a price, a great price at that. And it's a privilege for someone to enter it, for someone to enjoy it. It's such a gift. And, you know, at the end of the day, women, we have the control. We have the goodies. We have what they want. And if you understood that and you understand that you're so priceless,
you are.
we would be a little bit more
better off,
conscious about who we sleep with.
Wow.
Thank
that's
you.
Wonderful. Wow, that's powerful. Did y'all catch that? I caught
it. Thank you.
Wow. So did you grow up in a household that advocated abstinence, or was this more of something that you just found it on your own?
Girl, you know I'm Nigerian. I am Nigerian. They will tell it's reamed as a child. Girl, if you have your period and he touch you, you pregnant. You understand you're pregnant, right? They don't even talk about sex. I think my father still thinks if I were to ever have a baby, it would be immaculate conception. That's how much you don't even talk about it. But obviously that's a little bit of a hyperbolic statement. But my parents were very much so raising our daughters to know about the value of sex, to know that it is something that is so intimate. And it's so strange to me how people look at the media and they think that that's normal, that I'm supposed to dress like that. I'm supposed to be on my Miley Cyrus, like topless. We live in New York City. That's not illegal. You can walk down the street topless. And I just said to myself, that's not okay. I would never want my daughter walking down the street top, just bouncing, just doing what she, no. And no man of quality would want that.
Yeah, not for a wife.
Not for a wife.
Oh no.
Not for a
I'm
wife
sure that, yeah.
at all.
Wow.
And you know, it's so sad that this conversation isn't had more with these young girls, and I so thank you so much for doing this, because it's so needed. I feel bad when I see, you know, teenagers, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, who think it's the norm. I mean, if Nicki Minaj doing it, why can't I do it? Or if this person is doing it, why can't I do it? And I'm just like, that's not the standard for a woman at all. At all. Wow. So come for me if you love Nicki though. She's cute, but I can't back that. I just can't do it.
It's because a lot of people do look up to her.
Yes.
A lot of young girls, a lot of young women, and so they mirror those behaviors. But as a person, you know, she's a beautiful person,
gorgeous girl,
definitely.
Yeah, but that's not.
But I guess what she's portraying out there, and it's not just a lot of other artists, you know.
Yeah,
it's.
And you know what I do find a little I wouldn't say funny, but it's something to point out, is that I really, in one of her articles, she talks about wanting to do it the right way, wanting the husband and then wanting the child. And I just feel like with so many girls, that's a little contradictory, because how would I want to attract a man of quality if, you know, if I'm putting out is not that way? Exactly. You just don't want to glorify a certain type of behavior that's counterproductive. Yeah. You know, that's me.
Okay, so have you encountered any obstacles while trying to be abstinent?
In regards to obstacles, who hasn't encountered obstacles, especially in this time where we all live, where it's so promiscuous, where everybody's kind of glorifying this idea that sex is casual. It's difficult. It definitely is difficult. I feel as though one thing I always say is never ever be behind closed doors. When you're with someone in a relationship, do your best to avoid temptation. Yes. Stay outside. Go have a picnic, go do something, but don't stay behind four walls, because that's where temptation breeds itself. So definitely don't do it.
And I just want to encourage someone out there to know that there are attractive, handsome, beautiful
Idris.
Yes, I mean amazing men that are abstinent, that are celibate, and you know, for a lot of young women, you know, say there's no good men out there. There are no men that, you know, all men are the same. All men are not the same. There are some wonderful men that say, you know what, I want to do it the right way. I want to value my body. I want to value whoever my wife's body is, or just my partner's body, by choosing to wait. And you know, if you're a young man out there and you know you don't have any examples, just know that there are a lot of men out there who are, I mean, very intelligent men, very successful men who choose to be celibate, who choose to be abstinent and wait until marriage to have sex. And I guess a lot of people don't see that, but there are people out there, you know. I just wanted to encourage somebody and say that. So.
And it's so hard to really support that narrative in the media, where it feels like with every guy, and I feel bad for men, because it seems like a conquest is just a notch on the belt. It's like, oh, how many girls did you smash? You know, excuse like the colloquial term, but people just feel as though that it's something to be, I don't know, it's a badge. It's something to be proud of. And that's not the case. And I've found that so many men, after a while, it's empty. You know, you're using her for what? There's nothing substantive there. There's nothing that you can feel as though you're building on, because once the act is done, on to the next. It's just such a sad thing.
It is. Yeah. And, you know, for the young men out there, older men, you don't have to be that way. No. You can choose to be abstinent and say, you know, I'm going to value myself as a man and value, you know, women. And of course, a lot of people may say, what's wrong with you, man? You know, what's up with that? But just understand it's your choice and your decision. And honestly, a lot of people front and say, you know, they got it all together. They're going from one woman to the next.
And it's not the case.
Because deep down inside, they're hurting. They're confused. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing, and they're not really happy. So even though they may present themselves to be that way, there may be some inner issues that you don't know about.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. I find that sometimes sex is a way to mask the issue, whether it be loneliness, whether it be depression, whether it be insecurity, feeling as though these conquests speak something about who you are as a man, and it actually doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's so empty. And I think people need to be careful about soul ties. I feel like it's so much more deeper than just a physical. We've mentioned that sex in its idea, in its concept. People have this notion that, it's, something that you can do flippantly. It's not. It's spiritual. It's physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's operating on so many cylinders. So when you start to pervert what it was supposed to be, I think the ramifications are really, really dire.
You can't walk away from having sex with someone without giving them a piece of who you are, and you have a piece of them. It involves the whole person. And when I've talked about this before in previous videos, but not only are you creating soul ties with each person you have sex with, but there also is a chemical release when you have sex with someone. Men release vasopressin, women release the oxytocin. So it's scientifically proven. It's spiritual. It's in the Bible. And even if you don't believe in any spiritual aspect or physical aspect, your soul, something happens to your soul, and you can feel that when you have sex with someone. And you break away from that person, you feel that longing and that desire. So even if you don't believe in a faith, or you think science is just some foolishness, it's something that's inside of us that we know we have that connection to that person.
And just to piggyback off that point, just going back to the media, because I feel like so much of the lies, let's just call it what it is, so much of the lies is being perpetuated by through the media and music, and you have this like glorification of the one night stand, like and people say things like slut shaming. When did becoming a slut it's like it's okay now? We're not. Please don't take it from a point of condemnation. I'm never going to judge, but at the end of the day, we have to have an ideal. Not everyone's going to meet the ideal, and because you fall short of it does not make you a bad person. However, we can't start making excuses saying, well, it happened. Well, it is what it is. But you need to understand that that's not okay. And because it happened doesn't make it something that should become the norm
for you.
That's what it is. Just don't make it the norm. And the another point that I did want to talk about is the fact that when women do sleep with men, if there isn't something attached, if there isn't something of value, if he hasn't given you a title, be honest with yourself. So many women feel dirty. Let's just be honest. When when the act is done and he just walks out the door, there's something about you that feels dirty. And so as women, we start to overcompensate. You're calling him, what's going on? Where you at? How's this relationship? Because you want it to feel more than just a glorified prostitute. You want to feel something real, something permanent, exactly, a commitment that he's not just using you, that you're not just another chick on the roster, you're not just a flavor of the week. And I think if more women were vocal about that and said, you know what, when I'm done with it, I don't feel good. Like I just don't feel good, and nobody says these things. And when it's candid, like a girl chat, they're like, you know what, I slept with James last night, and girl, he didn't call me like the next day. What you think's going on? Like, you think he got somebody else? If you really were just about the act, you would not ask me those questions. You wouldn't you wouldn't care. But because it is so intimate, you're giving all of yourself in that moment. And James not calling you the next day. You don't care what your mama doing, how your day went, just going about his business.
And it can be the other way around too, So we're not just saying it's just women. Men can be affected by it
too,
but it is a huge issue for women, as we all know.
We're programmed differently.
What do you believe the purpose of sex is? I know you kind of talked about this before, but what do you believe sex was made for?
Well, I don't think it's relegated only to the realm of procreation. I think it's actually meant to be enjoyed. I think when God created sex, he wasn't just like, only do that if you're going to have a baby. I don't think that's the case. I think in a way, it's communication. It's a deeper level of speaking to one another. It's a language that your body is used to. It's so much more than the superficial. That's why it pains me that girls don't take it so seriously, because it's supposed to be something that you and your husband share, that you and your husband can explore and develop and cultivate, and then the blessing of children can come from that act. But I think it's practical. You can have children through it, and I also think it's pleasurable.
Practical and pleasurable. Okay,
Yeah.
well, my last question for you is you've been encouraging people, throughout the whole session, but what would you say to that young man or young woman who wants to be abstinent, but they're finding a hard time to be abstinent? And what would you say to that young man or young woman, or however old you are, who is abstinent and wants to continue to be celibate? What would you say to those two people? Words of encouragement.
It's a tough one. Simply pray. I would say pray. Having a relationship with God has brought me through so much, and I've never been the type of person to preach religion. I'm not here to say thou shalt not. That's not my situation. I think there's something to be said about cultivating a relationship with Jesus Christ. And when you have him as your savior, when you have that bond and the understanding of who you are. So many people don't understand who they are. Identity in Christ, identity in God. He has bought you by a precious, precious price. And he says in his word that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. The hairs on your head are not only numbered, they are counted. So if you realize how precious you are and how precious your body is, I think you'd be a little bit more conscious about who you would give it to.
Yes.
Yeah. And so praying about it is huge for me in terms of remaining on that path, because let's be honest, it's not easy. Number two would be cognizant of the type of media, the type of literature you surround yourself with.
Definitely.
Don't read pornographic things. Don't watch pornographic things. Be with people who are like-minded and not with people who would encourage you to step out of that comfort zone or step out of something that may lead you to downfall. So yeah, just be mindful of what you're digesting and taking in, and who you're surrounding yourself with.
Yeah, because as you think, that's who you are. Whatever you think you are, that is who you are. And one thing that you said that I caught was identity, and I think that's the core issue to so many issues or so many problems that people have, is not knowing who they are
and their worth,
and not knowing their worth and value. Because if you know your value and you know your worth, no one can just do anything to you. No one can just say anything to you, because when you respect yourself, you teach other people how to respond to you. So I think that's a key I want everyone to take from this video. But there are a lot of things we want everyone to take from this video. But knowing your identity can keep you from a lot of things.
Absolutely. So much so. Yeah, it's difficult though, we're not gonna lie, but I mean, what's the verse where sin abounds, grace abounds more? So
definitely.
God wants you to win. And I remember talking to Jilly a couple of weeks ago about the idea of waiting for your Boaz. There's just something about waiting for that gift. And when it does come forth, and it won't tarry, when it's right and it's right time, you'll just thank God that you waited. I've never heard somebody say, man, I'm so mad I waited. Like, I've never heard anybody tell me that. Whereas I've heard so many other people tell me, man, I wish I waited. Mm-hmm. So take that with a grain of salt. I really do believe that that's the truth in terms of just keeping yourself chaste. It's hard, but it's doable.
Yeah, it's doable. That's the key.
It's doable. Thank you
Okay,
so much. I had such a good time. I had such a good time. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, girl, for having me. This is awesome.
I really enjoyed you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I just want people to know, like, it's tough, but you can do it. And this is such a great thing that you're doing. Wow, so many young girls need this encouragement. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised so many don't know. You know, no one talks
we
about
this. We have to share this information. We have to share it, encourage each other.
Out of love. And think about it. Would you want your 14-year-old, 15-year-old to have sex? Some people say it's out of their hands. I don't think so. No. I don't think it's out of your hands. You can definitely influence. Exactly. And they would think about it. Again, trust me, I'm a testament to that. Yes. To the influence in having a voice in the back of your mind saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Exactly. Thank you, girl.
Well, thank you all. Thank you guys for watching. This is Choosing to Wait TV. If you have any questions, email us at choosingtowait@gmail.com, and you will have a blessed day. Bye.
My God.